Look at one of the great lineups in the game today, trying to make some history. Could they be the best ever? So strong from top to bottom. They are #1 in the nation in runs scored, batting average, home runs, and slugging percentage. For the four-time national champions, one of the heavy favorites to get back to Oklahoma City and fight for a 5th title. New poll is out. They stay #1. UCLA hot on their heels. In fact, the Bruins grabbed a couple of first-place votes this week after they won 3 of 4 against Washington in their fight for first place in the Pac-12. Here is the native Californian, Tiare Jennings, one of the top candidates for Freshman of the Year and one of the 25 finalists for Player of the Year. She has burst onto the scene and last weekend went 6 for 8 and scored 6 times. They swept Texas Tech and beat them 40-0 in their 3 games.
Jennings' numbers are staggering. 21 home runs herself on the year, 63 RBIs, and last weekend, Beth, not only did she hit well, she also knows how to take those walks.
And just like that one, the leadoff is on base for Oklahoma. And that will bring up Jocelyn Alo, the senior from Hauula, Hawaii, who has already announced she will be coming back next year. She is making an assault on both the single season and career NCAA home run records. For 24 this year, leads the country. She's also #1 in RBI and #2 nationally in batting average. Attempting to become the first player in D1 history to win a Triple Crown. And Rodoni is in with her first strike after starting out the ball game with 5 outside the zone. She, too, a National Player of the Year finalist, has reached in 50 of her last 51 games this year and last. Dad Levi, Grandma Ramita on hand, as they are for most of the games. Mom and the rest of the family and friends watching back home on the island of Oahu. She's come a long way to become one of the best in the country. And we're going to find it's over 3,000 miles, in fact 3,660 to Norman, Oklahoma. Continuing the tradition and the legacy of big hitters fighting for national championships. They've got 4 of them, 2000, 2013, 16, and 17. Alo gets a hold of one, out to right. And battling the wind out there is Madison Kepler, 1 down. Good for Baylor to have Kettler back in the lineup. She was away working on her graduate studies last weekend. Returns to the lineup as Kinsey Hansen will step in. Struggled against Texas a couple weekends ago and has bounced back since. She is the toughest player in America to strike out. Just once all season.
It really is incredible when you think about.
Hansen elevates, and the shortstop, Leah Binford, way out in left field, and a collision takes down Lou Gilbert, who may have twisted her ankle stepping on the shortstop. Oof, yep, right there, rolled the ankle. For the communication, so important, Smitty, especially if you're the shortstop out in someone else's territory.
It's always easier to make those catches coming in, so that's why Gilbert was running hard after that ball. But you're right, Beth, it's always about communication. It's not just your verbal, it's your nonverbal. You got to give those cues of waving those arms. You're the shortstop, making sure folks behind you can see you and hear you.
Grace Lyons hit by a pitch, 2 on with 2 outs. Couple of free passes here for the Sooners. That will push Jennings into scoring position for Jada Coleman. Jennings was the #2 recruit in the country last year. Coleman was the #1 recruit. Oklahoma got them both. And she's batting over 500 as a true freshman coming back home to Texas from the Colony. And she was coached over the years by her family, mom, dad, sister.
And just a huge get, as you mentioned, for Oklahoma. At one point was committed to Texas and then decided to head on up to Norman. So you talk about Jennings and Coleman together. What a find.
Oh, she ripped that one right out to Kettler and right. Couple stranded. Baylor picking up the bats when we come back.
Well, she has the ability to move the ball around. Just great spin through the zone. Look at just the 11 walks on the year. A stingy 160 batting average against. And Beth, one of the reasons she's so tough to score on is a whip below 1. So she doesn't walk you, and she doesn't let you hit much. And so it's really tough to line up those hits against the strong G. Juarez coming from that left side.
In her final season for the Sooners, had her senior day the other day. Trying to go out with a national championship. As we check out the lineup for the Baylor Bears, Goose McGlon and Taylor Ellis, 2 of their veterans from trips to the World Series in their younger days. For Glenn Moore, the head coach for the Bears, now in his 21st season. Well, there's a shot out to right, all the way back to the wall. Allo will get it back in, and the leadoff stand-up double for Lou Gilbert.
Gilbert has been hot as of late. Hitting from that left side, you would think Juarez would have the advantage, but she just elevates this pitch. You can see this is a curveball that just does not leave the zone. It stays in it, and Gilbert punishes it down the right field line, running very well, play in front of her. Easily going to head into second base for a leadoff double.
Well, the energy high here early on for Baylor in game 1 of our doubleheader. We've got them both for you on ESPNU tonight. As Juarez 1-0 the count to Emily Hott, adding in the 2 spot in the lineup. Freshman from Edmond, Oklahoma, so this is a big night for her. Has reached in 24 straight games. Tried to drop down the bunt, almost popped it out.
Lucky that ball was not caught. Lindsey Hansen moves really well behind the dish, almost grabs that.
They took 2 of 3 from Iowa State over the weekend. Top of the order was fabulous, and Hott went 5 for 6. Drove in 5 and scored 6 times. Got the bunt down. Did it hit her in the box? Call that a foul ball. First time for Baylor against Oklahoma while ranked #1 in 8 years. And over the course of the last 25 seasons, they are 1-12 all time against top-ranked opponents. That one win, they beat Florida back in 2009. So this would be monumental to grab one tonight. And the strikeout of Hot, one down.
Wow, that's a nasty pitch. Look at the way that G. Wars takes something off of this pitch and how it completely fools that pitch up in the zone. It looks like it's coming in at 65, and it shows up at about 55. So Wars, big strikeout, unproductive out. Gilbert stays at second.
Goose McGlon at 381 with a runner in scoring position this season. She's got one out at second. The throw down easily back is Gilbert. Fifth-year senior out of Humble, Texas. All Big 12 performer who was part of the Baylor team that went to the World Series in 2017. McGlon gets a hold of one, back to the track, room for Jada Coleman, who's over there in left field today, 2 down. Sooners switched up their defense with Coleman in left, Mendez in center, Allo in right, and they are getting getting a boost from the breeze right now. Wind's blowing in.
Yeah, I think if the wind's blowing out, that ball potentially could have left the yard.
You touched on it. Home runs have been the one issue really for Juarez. He's given up a dozen in 75 innings of work. Third baseman Taylor Ellis, the senior, the hometown product from right here in Waco. Kind of the fiery leader of this team. Looking for the early lead. Not many teams have been able to get in front of the Sooners this year. Just one loss on the season. That was exactly 1 week ago at Georgia in extra innings.
On a very back and forth game, Beth, and this is an Oklahoma team that if you're going to beat them, more than likely you're not going to throw a goose egg up on that scoreboard. So you've got to be able to throw punches back and forth with them and stay in the game.
Now, they average over 11 runs per game, so that gives you an idea of what you're up against. And here is a chance now with that first run of the night 60 feet away.
Oh, and that's why those number 2 and number 3 hitters not moving up Gilbert an extra 60 feet. Potentially could have scored a run on that wild pitch. Got to have productive outs against G. Juarez and company.
Score that a wild pitch to get Gilbert over to third, where she's able to talk with head coach Glenn Moore. Winningest coach here in Baylor history, 4 trips to the World Series. Great to see Glenn back with the team. Had a heart procedure recently. And of course, for Baylor, we'll obviously get into the story a lot. The heartbreak of the Bears program lost their longtime assistant coach, Mark Lumley, to cancer back in December. You see the blue ribbons on their chest for Mark, for Lum, as he was affectionately known. So this group has had a lot to deal with, Michelle, and they have shown tremendous resilience fighting through it. And so appreciative to be together on the field tonight and an opportunity against the top team in the country. 2-2 to Ellis. Good count.
Yeah, Beth, a very tight-knit group, this Baylor crew. Looking forward to tonight's game and the challenge of playing Oklahoma.
Yeah, the pandemic has forced this to be rescheduled. They were supposed to play earlier this year. Ellis, little dribbler to third. John's going to have to hurry. Not in time, and a run will score for Baylor on the hustle of Taylor Ellis.
Boy, and sometimes a full swing bunt is one of the toughest to defend. So look at where Johns is playing, the third baseman. And on a full swing, there's a little bit of a delay coming in. She reads that. She's trying to see, is it going to go foul? It doesn't. You can see Kinsey Hansen saying, first, first, first. Look at the way she's going to pause and try to read it. Is it going to go foul? Nope. Then she approaches. And by that time, Taylor Ellis, great job of hustling down the line. And that puts a run up on the board for Baylor. Gilbert able to come home.
That's about a 6-foot RBI for Taylor Ellis. Down the line in foul territory, and Coleman is able to track it down. Baylor scores first, 1-0 through 1. Now words of wisdom from Patty Gasso to her team after their loss to Georgia. Gave us some great insight, too. You know, they call it the championship mindset at Oklahoma, and that ability to continue to grow and get better through the season so you're at your best late in the year in the NCAA tournament. They find themselves down here 1-0, and Talon Snow grounds out one away. I thought what was interesting, too, when we talked to Patty this week, Michelle, said, you know, we would not have wanted to go to the World Series undefeated. I'm not sure who would, but the team was not at all happy about the loss, and so it has reinvigorated their spirit in practice, and certainly for this doubleheader tonight against Baylor. In fact, Patty said today is a big telling point about how much we want to win and how much we hate to lose.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they went in against Texas Tech, and well, first they beat Georgia after they snapped the streak, and then they played Texas Tech and just didn't give up a run. Okay, more than the 40 runs that they scored against Texas Tech, they did not give up a run in the entire series, which was simply amazing. But you know, and I felt the same way, Beth, when we called that game last week. You know, I thought this was a little bit of good medicine for Oklahoma. You know, obviously the team didn't feel that way. And as a coach, Patty, you know, confirmed it as well. You don't always like to have those long streaks going into the postseason, but this is how strong the team is. I think they really thought they could go through the season undefeated. And when it didn't happen, they were ticked. They were peeved.
3-0 count here to Lindsey Elam in for a strike. 3 home runs, including a granny in her last 8 games. Of course, 11 different Sooners have hit multiple home runs this year. 5 Sooners have double-digit dingers this year. As Elam draws the walk. And they started out the season hammering UTEP, and they hit 13 home runs in 1 game right out of the gate. Well, that's the kind of potency that is up and down this lineup. Yeah, but they've got a runner on here with 1 out.
19 games with 3+ home runs. I mean, it's simply incredible. The 111, it leads the NCAA. How about this? 26 home runs where they've hit 2+, 19 3+.
And Jana Johns is your number 8 hitter in the lineup. She has homered in each of the last 3 games. You know, we hear coaches around the country talk about it, Michelle, with the bigger rosters this year due to, you know, COVID seniors and super freshmen and the big rosters. The competition day in and day out has been an incredible motivator. And you can imagine what it's like every day taking BP and scrimmaging at Oklahoma with All-Americans fighting to get off the bench and into the lineup.
Yeah, that's what is amazing. All-Americans in previous years that have lost their jobs, they'd be superstars at any other program.
Johns is the senior transfer from South Carolina out of Calhoun, Georgia. And not only can you tap into your teammates, but the coaching staff. You know, Sydney Romero is one of the volunteer or student assistants on this team, one of the all-time great third basemen in college basketball history, and so she gets to pick Sid's brain.
Yeah, not to mention their offense, one of the tops in the country as well. Just 9 errors on the season.
Yeah, defense. Well, yeah, you jinxed her now. Jana is actually the last one to commit an error. 15 games ago, by the way. 16 games ago. That's how strong the D has been. Oh, speaking of strong D, going up to make the play is hot. Robs Johns of a base hit.
How about Emily Hott going up the middle, timing this perfectly? Looks like it's a base hit off the bat just simply because of where it's going, and she's behind the bag. She's behind second base, so she comes a long way. Great timing to get that, and then presence of mind to know the secondary play behind her, looking to potentially double off. Elam, really great defensive effort.
Number 9 hitter Nicole Mendez chokes up to try and bunt it down the third baseline. 3 for 5 in the weekend series with Texas Tech, including a triple. One of the good problems that the Sooners have is sometimes their at-bats are at a minimum, and the innings for their pitchers are at a minimum because they keep run ruling everybody.
Patty said it. She's like, I want to play 7 innings. We talked with her, you know, and that's why she thought that going to Georgia was going to be so important. Making up this Baylor series, so important. She knows they need to be challenged going into the postseason.
Just in the last month, only 3 of their 15 games have been 7 innings.
And I think that was the other, you know, really good point of last weekend's game. In game 1 against UGA, Coach flat out said it. I want to see our pitchers get pushed into tough situations. They have to learn to pitch in duress, because you know that's going to be the case when they're going through the postseason.
Radoni gets the strikeout. The D backing her up in a 1-0 lead. Teams on the roster that day. That snapped Oklahoma's 25-game Big 12 win streak. And now, of course, they've ripped off 64 in a row. So that was their last Big 12 loss in a game. Their last Big 12 series loss is 10 years ago to Missouri, before they left for the SEC. That's 58 straight series without a loss in the league.
Wow.
Six, 7, 8 here in the lineup. Madison Kettler leading off the second.
You know, Beth,
and was Johns able to track that down? It looks like she was. After Lindsey Hansen lost it.
When Hansen did not go back, I thought this must be into the stands. But look at the way that Johns is going to follow it. Hansen doesn't know where it's at. Johns coming all the way in from third, makes the catch.
Oh, my goodness.
Wow. That is heads up, and that is great hustle.
That's picking up your teammate right there. Jana must have heard us mention her error 16 games ago, so she just said, well, I'm going to show you guys.
I'm gonna go get that.
You got to give him something else to talk about, and you just did, young lady. Well done. Here's Josie Bauer.
Defense we talked about for Oklahoma. Not a lot of chances. Juarez, you know, strikeout pitcher. A lot of short games.
They are the only team in the country, top 10 in all 3 phases. Number 1 batting average, number 1 fielding percentage, number 9 ERA. Also number 1 home run, so the power is there as well. Slow roller back to Juarez. She'll whip around, fire to first. 2 outs.
Well, and Beth, one other thing I want to just add to the streak, the Big 12 series streak that Oklahoma is on, is that you go back, you look at Texas, Oklahoma State, you look at the clubs over the last couple of years that they have played, that they've lost series. They've they've beaten in those series, and they have those Texas, Oklahoma State. They've appeared in Women's College World Series, so we're not talking about the fact that the Big 12 has been lopsided. I mean, they have been strong. Baylor as well. A couple tickets punched to Oklahoma City.
Yep. Baylor trying to bounce back. They stumbled a couple years ago, missed the NCAA tournament, but they have been one of the teams right up there, as you see, with the most recent trip in 2017. Of course, Texas looking strong again with Mike White, now in his 3rd year with the Longhorns. And Smitty's alma mater, Oklahoma State Cowgirls in the, let's see, are they back in the top 10 this week? Yes, they are, number 9 in the country. Bedlam is still to come in a few weeks. That's going to be a blast in Stillwater.
That'll be a really good one. Kenny Gajewski doing a great job with Oklahoma State. And always a battle. Oklahoma State, anything is always a fun series to watch.
Oh, mark your calendar, starts May 7th to close out the regular season. Zadie LaValle fouls off the off-speed. Glenn Morris stressing with his team. You know, we talked to Brittany Sneed-Newman, their longtime assistant, great pitcher in her own right. Her days at LSU when Glenn was her coach there before coming to Waco. Staying confident and staying cohesive against this Oklahoma stud lineup. But G. Juarez gets the strikeout, her second.
Juarez using all of her pitches, her curve, her off-speed. This one slows it down to pick up the big strikeout.
8 straight Big 12 regular season titles. A stretch in which they have also won 3 of their 4 national championships.
Well, Beth, when you think about that, 10 years, I mean, that's not a bad game. That's not a bad doubleheader, a bad weekend. I mean, day in and day out, that's honing your skills, your tools, consistency.
Their one connection to their last national championship, Nicole Mendez. So the rest of this group of Sooners hungry for their first title. Gary Jennings walked back in the first, top of the order. You see Brittany Sneed-Newman in the background signaling in the pitches. Got to be careful with Jennings. Plenty of power in that leadoff spot. Not your typical lefty slapper. She's hit 21 bombs from the right side. Golfs that one. Deep center, back to the base of the wall and caught by Hannah Smith. 1 down. Well, the wind probably saved Baylor there. For sure. Hannah Smith manning center field due to the injury to Nikki Dawson. Out with a hand injury. Her return is still TBD, but Nikki a big piece for the Bears. They hope to have her back soon.
Well, Beth, one thing about this stadium for Baylor, it is more of a pitcher stadium. It's tough to get the ball out of the park. The wind typically always blows in. Baylor on the year, just 21 home runs as a team.
One and one to Jocelyn Allo. She flew out to right field in the first. We talked about the Texas Tech series. They won the last game 20-0. They had an 18-run 4th inning. As Allo lines one out to left, and Lou Gilbert snags it. Deep defense making some plays for Baylor. 2 down.
Well, and that's always what you'd have to do when you're going up against a team like Oklahoma who's going to hit Adams at you. This ball is scorched, but Gilbert laying out, making the catch, going into the gap. And Rendoni, she's like, yes, you got my back. I love it.
Rendoni loves the D, backing her up. She only has the 1 strikeout. She's letting her mates do the work here. There's Kinsey Hansen in the 3 spot. Flew out to shallow left, and actually the shortstop Binford went back to make the catch, and Gilbert twisted her ankle on the play. Ended up being all right. Being home runs, that puts her in the top 10 nationally.
And you mentioned her last
home run.
Yep. Well, just the home run hitting, but the fact that she only has that 1 strikeout. So again, it's the power, the ability to see the ball, to walk when they will take the walk. And being a catcher, obviously sees a lot of pitches, understands the zone.
Rendoni's getting them to pop it up to or actually all of the places they've been on the road. The opponents have been doing something nice to honor the memory of Lum and all that Mark has done for Baylor softball.
He was a great hitting coach. Spent a couple years with Glenn Moore at LSU before they came to Baylor.
Here's Hannah Smith. 9, and then the top of the lineup. One and 2 from G. Juarez. It'll be interesting to see if Baylor maintains the lead or this stays a close game. How many innings G will throw? The Sooners have not needed to throw a lot of complete games, even the shortened ones. In fact, just 7 all year and 4 for G. Juarez. You know, she was pretty much off, or certainly not 100% for 2 years, coming back from an injury to her bicep. Finally getting back into 100%.
Patty Gasso talked about the fact that she really didn't start throwing again until January. So if you think about that, Beth, I mean, most pitchers are going to be working all fall, and then by January, they're starting to hit their stride because the season's right around the corner.
To Hannah Smith. Lifts it down the line. Allo drifting over. 1 down. For this week's Sunday Night Baseball, the series finale with the Mets and the Phillies at Citizens Bank Park. The Mets leading the NL East by half game right now over Philly. Coverage begins at 6 Eastern with baseball tonight, Sunday Night Countdown, and then first pitch at 7. Mets and Phillies. Top of the order, Luke Gilbert. Double to right, and now dropping in a base hit to left, and this is going to be extras again. Dribbles all the way back to the wall, and sliding in safe at third is Gilbert.
Well, Luke Gilbert, one of the fastest Baylor Bears, is just going to get this ball out on the green. She gets jammed up just a little bit, but look at the way she finishes her swing and dumps this right in front of Jada Coleman. Now remember, Coleman has been playing this entire year in center field. A completely different look for her out in left field. That ball gets past Coleman, it gets all the way to the wall, and Gilbert finds herself at third base.
Double for Gilbert, and now a triple for Lou. And you're absolutely right, Smitty. When you're the center fielder, you've got two backups that are pretty close if you dive at a ball. Not so much if you're on in one of the corner outfield spots. And that was a long run for Mendez at center. This is an Oklahoma team. And we talked about their pitching and their defense. They've only given up 46 earned runs in 38 games. And Baylor is looking for a second run here in the first 3 innings. Pulled to second. Jennings comes home with it. And out at the plate is Lou Gilbert.
And this is a mistake by Gilbert. You have to ball angle this. So in other words, the second this ball comes off the bat, if you're going when the ball's hit this way, look at the hesitation. You could see her hesitate. It is fine for her to go if she is hitting and running the second that ball is coming off the bat, and you can see it's a ground ball to the right side. So Gilbert, that delay, that hesitation is the reason she is out at home. Nice tag by Kenzie Hansen, making sure that she's got the lane open.
And that is a fair ball. Hot, headed for home, and the throw in time, and a couple of outs registered at home plate by the Sooner defense. And Baylor is arguing that the runner was safe at home.
Goose McGlone driving this ball down the line, rips it right past Jones, but this is why Oklahoma is one of the best in the business defensively. Great relay. Coleman to Lyons, to Hansen for the tag, and look at the Sooners making defensive plays. 2 outs at home for the Sooners. They're picking up the bats.
They could have been up a couple more. Out twice at home in the bottom of the 3rd inning. We'll revisit in a sec. 4, 5, and 6 coming up here for Oklahoma. Grace Lyons hit by a pitch in the first. What's at stake here? A 64-game conference win streak for Oklahoma. They have not lost to a league opponent since Baylor beat them in 2017. When Gia Rodoni was a youngster in the circle, and here she is again for the Bears with a 1-0 lead.
Baylor team not intimidated, going out with Gia in the circle. Some great defensive plays already. They have been very aggressive against G. Juarez.
Powering, but foul. It's a Oklahoma offense batting .439, best in the country. 111 home runs, best in the country. They are hitless so far. And for a team that averages over 11 runs a game, a bagel through the first 3 at-bats. Rodoni has been spectacular. We were wondering if she could pull off the same thing that Mary Wilson-Avant did for Georgia last Tuesday night in a high-scoring extra inning game, but Avant went the distance, threw over 150 pitches, and Georgia got the win over the Sooners. The only time this year Oklahoma has lost. Another hard shot, but foul.
Well, Beth, you brings up the point that you have your ace in the circle against Oklahoma. I think that UGA game gave a lot of teams faith that, hey, we've got our ace going. We play good defense behind them. We get our timely hitting. We can make something happen. And the paper gladiators, as we called them earlier, they potentially can go down. And that's what we're seeing with Baylor. I think the other thing with Gia is that she's developed a changeup and an off speed this year. Her velocity is not quite as high, which is obviously okay, but the wind is blowing in. The amount of ground balls, fly balls that she is inducing, keeping the ball off the ground, not as many ground balls, to her favor with the wind blowing in.
Grace Lyons is just pounding softballs into foul territory. Physically hurting them.
Making them eggs.
And you see the wind that they are working against. It's a doozy blowing in, helping the pitchers. And this will be at least a 10-pitch at-bat. Lyons, who grew up playing a lot of baseball before finding her way into softball. And now the 3-year starting shortstop. Patty Gasso thinks she's one of the best in the country. She is losing the fight right now with that left field line. Just will not let her get one inside the line here.
Rondoni continues to challenge her. She's off the plate.
Full count. Rondoni's got a lot of confidence coming off of the Iowa State series. Had a big win for them on Sunday. Just the 13th pitch coming up.
Rondoni doing a great job of attacking the zone, not leaving anything too sweet. I'm sure that Oklahoma's going to go get something. They're going to have to hit a pitcher's pitch.
And finally a ball in play, and it's caught by Kettler out in right. One down. That'll bring up Jada Coleman, who was involved with in that last play at the plate. And the throw in from left field, Smitty to Grace Lyons, and then home.
Well, really good relay, picking up the ball barehanded, getting it to Grace Lyons, who was in perfect position. And then how about Kinsey Hansen, the way that she's going to go get the ball, make a lane for the runner to come in and apply the tag. And I think that's probably what Coach Glenn Moore was asking about, was it potential obstruction? But it looked like the throw took Kinsey Hansen enough outside to be able to go get the ball. The lane was open for Holt, and she still applies the tag to get the out. That is not an easy play.
Could have been a huge inning for the Bears. Instead, it's big for the Sooners as they throw out 2 base runners at home. Coleman reached for it 0-2, fooled on that pitch by Rondoni.
One of the things I think is most impressive about both Coleman and Jennings as freshmen, they're just first time facing everybody, facing a Gia Rondoni who can move the ball around with a lot of off speeds. Coleman has been very good as of late, just 1 strikeout in her last 19 ABs. Just 5 on the year.
Right back up the middle and a base hit for Coleman, and the first hit of the game for the Sooners here in the 4th.
And a second time through the lineup. Coleman lines out to right field, and this time battles a little bit and gets a pitch she can handle. Pitch supposed to be on the outside corner. It looks like a screwball that Gia just left elevated just a little bit, but that's still really good hitting by Coleman. That pitch was not over the white part of the plate by any means, but Coleman goes and gets it and shoots it right back up the middle.
First baseman, Taylor Snow, ground out her first time up. Other thing too that we don't know as much about, but these teams, these players, you know, the cancellations, the postponements, the changes in the schedule, you know, the midweek games. This is the second week in a row Oklahoma is hitting the road midweek, and the challenge for all these programs to get games in for the selection committee to look at, trying to get quality, as many quality games in as they can for the selection committee to look at.
Yeah, absolutely, Beth. Everything is a challenge this year, from the way you travel to where you're traveling to when you can travel.
Most of the non-conference tournaments that these schools in the Midwest and up north, you know, that's their lifeblood through the month of February and March, to go down to Florida or Arizona or Southern California for a few weekends. Get in a lot of quality opponents in a short period of time. They missed out on all of that this year. To short, bobbled by Binford. 2 on with 1 out for OU.
Taylor Snow with a really good battle, going to cross over, send this ball with a little bit of English to Binford, and you can see the way it hits the ground. So look at the way the spin on this ball. When it hits the ground, it's just going to hop up, going to eat her up. So error on Binford. Oklahoma trying to make something happen here in the top of the 4th.
Lindsey Elam walked in the 2nd. Elam tattoos one back to the fence and caught at the base of the wall. Hannah Smith, the throw back into 3rd as Coleman advances. And another wind-aided long fly ball stays in the park.
This ball is hit a ton, but look at Hannah Smith going back, understanding her own field, arm out, makes the catch. Look at the way she's going back. She feels that she's on the warning track. The catch at the top of the fence. And absolutely, Beth, with no wind or wind blowing out, that would have been long gone.
Janet Johns, couple of RBIs out there for her, with the tying run and go-ahead runs in scoring position for OU. They are 0 for 2 with a runner in scoring position tonight. Today they are 0 for 3 with 2 outs. One and one. This has the potential to be a 4-run swing right here in OU's favor after they erased a pair of potential Baylor runs in the bottom of the 3rd. A shot at a couple of their own right here. Jones yanks one foul. Ugoni trying to work out of a jam for the Bears. 1-2 pitch. Off speed. Good high. Back from Johns. couple of base runners on a single and an error here for Oklahoma. Another off speed just missed up and away. Full count.
Really mixing the speeds, using that changeup and off speed so effectively. Oh, just outside the zone.
Ooh. They have just fouled off ball 4.
Sometimes you go into these deep counts and it's easy to forget where you're at. It's so important to continue to tell yourself where you're at if you're at that 3-ball mark, so you're not chasing stuff out of the zone.
Down to the bottom of the lineup, and on deck is the 5th-year senior from down the road in Houston, Texas. And a member of their 2017 National Championship squad, Nicole Mendez, awaiting her turn. Look out with 2 outs, 2 in scoring position. Johns, that could be playable, drifting and out.
Rigoni battling up to 73 pitches already. The number of foul balls that Oklahoma just continues to drive into the stands.
Trying to wear her down. Johns missed it with the change, and the bases will be loaded for Nicole Mendez. This is where the Sooners can get you in a lot of trouble if you help them out. 2 of the 3 base runners on with an error and a walk. Rigoni struck out Mendez back in the 2nd. Swinging at the first pitch, drills that one deep right, back and gone. Grand slam, Mendez.
That is a super senior, very smart, knowing a hitter in front of her walks. The pitcher's going to want to get ahead, and what does Mendez do? First pitch, swinging, looking for a pitch on the outside corner, just gets around it and drives this ball out of the park. A grand slam home run for Nicole Mendez, her 5th home run of the year, and Mendez is pumped.
Back home in Texas, I got your number 9 hitter right here, Coach Gasso. Let me show you what I can do with this swing. And out it goes.
Well, Bethan, you mentioned it. Opportunities given, so Baylor, a couple of mistakes in the inning.
Yep.
Oklahoma capitalizes.
It ends up being a 6-run swing in Oklahoma's favor. And the grand slam, Nicole Mendez, 4-1 Sooners. And the top-ranked team in all the land is flying high again.
Talk about just a huge momentum shift.
Taylor Ellis here, 4, 5, and 6 in the lineup. And a little breathing room now for G. Juarez in the circle. First game of our doubleheader tonight on ESPNU. Oklahoma, number 1 in the country. Top 5, UCLA, Florida, Alabama, and Washington. Sooners first place in the Big 12. UCLA, first place in the Pac-12. They took 3 of 4 against Washington this weekend. Arkansas in front of Florida in the SEC, but they can still get caught from behind. A good race brewing there. Arkansas has just 3 games left on the schedule. We will have all of them for you this weekend. Arkansas and LSU. How about the Clemson Tigers? They overtook Florida State. They are now in first place in the Atlantic Coast Conference. And Michigan, a big weekend win over Northwestern. So they are, the Wolverines are 2 games up now on Minnesota in the Big Ten. They still have a 4-game series coming up 2 weekends away. I believe that's going to be in Minneapolis.
That's going to be a great series.
Along with Michelle Smith. Slow roller to short. Lions has it 1 down. I think there's something else important going on this week. Oh yeah, that's right. NFL Draft Round 1 starts on Thursday, 8 o'clock on ESPN. Every pick, every big moment live. ABC also will have coverage focusing on the prospects' journey to the draft, giving us the college perspective as well. First round coverage begins Thursday night at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. This is Aaliyah Binford, who out to left field in the first. Aaliyah's already had a busy day. The freshman from New Braunfels, Texas. Her mom, Betty, her stepdad, Greg, both in attendance. And earlier this afternoon, her stepdad, Greg, there he is. He's the guy that, alongside Betty, helped raise her. So Aaliyah decided, you know what, I want to take his name. I want to be adopted by my dad. And so Aaliyah Pritchard is now Aaliyah Binford. And there she was as a youngster with Greg. And that was earlier today after it became official. Great story. The family that came together. Wonderful job as a softball dad.
Yeah, absolutely. They said they changed her jersey up, had her, had everything all worked out. So once the adoption went through, it was all set.
Quite possible. She's been doing some pitching as well, that we could see her perhaps as the starter in the second game of the doubleheader tonight. 2 down here for Madison Kettler. Sydney Holman Mansell, a right-hander, also is the 3rd member of the staff, with Rodoni carrying most of the load. 0-1 is popped up, and Johns has another huge play at third base. She can catch him in foul territory, fair territory, you name it, Smitty, she's got it.
Well, it's all about reading the hands, and Johns does that. Ball up in the air, she gloves it. Sooners pick up the bats again.
It went from a 1-0 Baylor lead to a 4-1 Oklahoma lead, with the Sooners grabbing all the momentum. And now Jocelyn Allo golfs one deep left towards the parking lot. Look out for the cars as Allo crushes her 25th of the season. May have gotten a minivan. May have gotten the minivan.
Wow.
My goodness.
First pitch swinging. Yet again, second home run, first pitch swinging for these Sooners. Ability to know that Gia's trying to get ahead early, and this pitch low and inside. The load, the laid kick on time. Look at the foot down and the barrel through the zone, and just going to drive this, what wind, drive this out into the parking lot. And she's pointing up the dad who's made the trip from Hawaii.
Yes. Almost put that in the bed of that pickup truck that was driving by. The power of Jocelyn Allo just continues to crush. That is her 79th career home run. The school record and the NCAA record is 95. The single-season NCAA record is 37 from Arizona's Laura Espinoza back in 1995. As Hansen pops it up, Jocelyn pointing up to Levi, and Dad giving it right back. Oh, yeah, indeed, Boomer Sooner.
She's now got one more career home run than her number coming into today. 78 home runs. That was her 79th.
Grace Lyons hit by a pitch and a fly ball out to right. Well, they were fighting, it looked, Michelle, fighting against a pretty heavy wind blowing in the first 3 innings. They were hitless with a lot of deep fly balls. And now we're busted through in the 4th and again in the 5th. The wind is still kicking, but apparently Jocelyn has cranked it up a notch.
Extra high leg kick to get it out.
On the ground to third, Taylor Ellis. High throw to first. Pulled off McGlaughlin off the base. And Lyons is safe with 1 out.
Ellis is going to glove this up, but then decides to throw on the run. She's got plenty of time to set her feet and make a nice throw, but it's elevated, and Goose McGlaughlin going up. Great job to make this catch. But you can see the way that Lyons comes through and catches McGlaughlin's leg. Another collision at first base.
David Coleman. For Alo, of her 25 home runs, 11 of them have been solo, and 5 of them now have been a leadoff tater. Having one of the greatest seasons in the history of the game to date. With her 500-plus batting average, her power numbers through the roof.
Just simply refocused this year, Beth. She had those 30 home runs as a freshman and 16 as a sophomore. Last year, 8. Single season as a 30 with her and Lauren Chamberlain.
That's the school record. Also an NCAA freshman record. The front runner for National Player of the Year honors right now. Coleman golfs that one out to shallow right or left center. 2 down. When you talk about the greatest seasons for an individual batter in the history of the game, these are some of the all-time greats who flirted with the Triple Crown. It has never happened, but you look at Laura Espinoza in 1995, you will not find a better season. And the others on that list, those were all en route to national championships. And Alo's numbers comparable to all of them. So she's #1 in home runs and RBIs. #2 right now in batting average to Kayla Kowalik at Kentucky. The OPS is off the charts. In fact, this entire starting lineup has an OPS of over 1.0 something.
It's up there. Well, what's amazing too, Beth, is that you look at Tiare Jennings hitting in front of her with 21 home runs. So think about the number of times Alo has come up where the bases have been wiped clean because of Jennings. And she still has a team leading 67 now RBIs on the year.
2-1 to Snow. Older folks will appreciate, and you younger folks, get on your Google machine. I mean, Laura Espinoza and Stacy Newman Smitty's about to take you on a tale about no technology in the bats and balls that you couldn't lift out if you threw it out of the yard.
Or if
and
you
they
hit
were
them
just
enough,
putting up gaudy numbers.
Yeah, and if you hit them enough, they turn into eggs.
5-1 Oklahoma lead over Baylor. The top-ranked Sooners out in front. Game 1 of our doubleheader tonight from Waco, Texas. Beth Mowins and two-time Olympic gold medalist Michelle Smith. We just got a glimpse of Jocelyn Allo in the dugout. She just hit a monster home run, her 25th of the season, to add to the Sooners' tally. And that would indicate some changes defensively as Allo is out. Mackenzie Donahue is now into the lineup out in left field. Coleman moves over to center. Mendez moves over to right. Tremendous versatility with players that can play in a lot of different spots for Patty Gasso.
Well, and that's what's so important with that versatility and making sure everybody gets the amount of reps they need. Looks in different positions.
Josie Bauer lifts that one shallow left, back on the grass as Lions, one down. It's the bottom of the order here for Baylor. Second time they're getting a look at G. Juarez. One pitch. Baylor trying to end a streak of 9 straight losses to Oklahoma. They have not beaten the Sooners in Waco since 2014. In the dirt, 1-2. The Valley is an Oklahoma native from Choctaw. 12 flyouts, a ground out, and 3 strikeouts. Make it 4 strikeouts, 2 down.
Well, G. Juarez continuing to use that curveball away, mixing speeds as well. This lefty-lefty matchup, she's just so strong. Look at the way that ball just dives down, and LaValle's just going to swing right through it. So not only does Juarez fool you with the movement through the zone, it's the timing. It's when that pitch shows up. 4th strikeout for G. Juarez.
Anna Smith.
Well, Beth, back to your point about Baylor, you know, the matchup trying to knock off Oklahoma is, you know, you have to be perfect. And you look back at your scorecard, that 4th inning with the big grand slam by Nicole Mendez, the error, if that error doesn't show up, they're out of the inning. It's all those little things that if you allow Oklahoma to extend the inning, they're almost impossible to beat. You cannot make the defensive mistakes. You cannot make the offensive base running mistakes. It's every little thing you can think of in our game. If you're not perfect, there's a 99% chance that Oklahoma will capitalize and beat you.
Even though they suffered the loss, they're still in the chase. This is a team that embraces history, that embraces an opportunity at greatness. UCLA in 1992 was 54-2. That's the fewest losses in a single season for a team that went on to win a national championship. That's being on top of your game every single day. I think Big 12 Now on ESPN Plus is a must-have for Big 12 fans. Some of the featured games: baseball, OU Oklahoma State on Friday, some softball, Kansas and Baylor all weekend long, as well as early rounds of the Big 12 softball tournament May 14th and 15th. ESPNplus.com/Big12Now. Get yours today. Little baseball bedlam this weekend. Got a little softball bedlam still to come up in Stillwater.
Yeah.
3 games at Oklahoma State. That will be a top 10 showdown. They also have sandwiched in there a tough outing against Wichita State that they're trying to work out.
Wichita State's been knocking on the door, receiving votes, having a good season. Last couple of years they've been outstanding.
Yeah. They ran into Georgina Corrick this weekend, right? UCF has gone from unranked into the poll this week. Chat here with Jen Rocha, the pitching coach. Only 2/3 so far for Giselle.
Yeah, just the one walk, the one free pass in this game. That was just her 12th of the year. Stingy in the free pass department.
Longtime assistant at Florida, a winner of national championships, now at home at Oklahoma.
It's a great job with pitchers, calling pitches and scouting hitters.
For a strike to Gilbert. G walked the number 9 hitter, Hannah Smith, so they're back at the top of the order. A double and a triple for Lou. Popped it up. Johns is calling for it, and neither will get to it. Gilbert's good at putting the ball in play. Just one strikeout her last 24 ABs. He's showing some home run power. If you're thinking about hitting for the cycle today. Slow roller back to the pitcher. Over to first. The base runner stranded. 5-1 Sooners as we move on to the 6th. Bottom of the lineup for many, that would be a breather, but not with Oklahoma, because that means Mendez may come up again. Newcomer in the lineup here is Mackenzie Donahue for Lindsey Elam. He's also checked into the game out in left field. And for a strike from Rodoni. Things have moved along nicely for Gia, and then the error in the 4th and a walk a couple batters later loaded the bases and set the stage for the Mendez slam.
Well, it really was that error. Out to right field, gave up the base hit to Coleman, and then that error. That would have been the 2nd out of the inning, and then she got the fly out of Elam to center. So it's just funny how that one play, it always comes back to get you.
Dana Johns lined to second, walked and scored. A couple of terrific plays on the defense, and on the line out, Emily Hott gloved it. Lou Gilbert also with a diving grab out in left field tonight. Johns out to right center, coming over is Smith, 2 down. for the Sooners. They are into the 6th inning. 28 of their 38 games have been run rule wins. And Baylor forcing them to stay out there a little longer. And here's Nicole Mendez. Struck out in the 2nd. First pitch swinging on a grand slam ball in the 4th.
This Oklahoma team just makes so many adjustments. They realize that Gia is playing with them with the off speeds, the changeup, when they get deeper in the count. So what do? They make those adjustments. They come out in that 4th and 5th inning, first pitch swinging, making those adjustments on anything good close to the zone, early in the count, attacking.
With the other home run hitter off in the distance. Blew up in a couple batters, 78 Hollow with 79 career home runs. When you talk about greatness, not only in teams but in players, Smitty, it's your ability to not remain static, to not remain in the same place. So Nicole Mendez arrived here as a starter, made an immediate impact, and the recruiting was so good behind her. She's been fighting for her job ever since to stay in the lineup, and just keeps holding on to it, just keeps getting better every time out. Has fought through an injury this year to her shoulder. You know, every day somebody's pushing for your spot, for your ABs. And Mendez has proven to be a fighter and a warrior for the Sooners. And she draws the walk to get the top of the order up with 2 outs. We got some baseball for you Sunday night. Mets and Phillies. Sunday night baseball starts at 6 with baseball tonight, and then first pitch 7 Eastern on ESPN, also streaming live on your app. Got some good softball coming up this weekend too. Going to see Alabama and Georgia, as well as Arkansas LSU. Can the Razorbacks win their first SEC championship? The last 12 years in a row, it's gone to Florida and Alabama. The mayhem, Smitty, only 4 days away.
That's right. It's coming.
Jennings, deep center field. And that one's out. 3rd home run of the ball game for the Sooners.
Jennings, the freshman, so much power in that leadoff spat, the 500-plus batting average and the ability to drive the ball out. And Gia Rondoni knew immediately this ball right down the middle, and Jennings just drives this right out of the park. A 2-run shot for Jennings. Wow.
Home run number 22 for the freshman. Allo with the home run in the last inning. Eight of the 9 in the lineup have reached base tonight. Kinsey Hansen, the only one. She's up next.
Every Sooner run coming via the home run coming into this game. Gia Rondoni had given up 14 home runs, and it really was going to be the story if she could keep Oklahoma in the park, but so difficult.
This one will stay in the yard. Side retired, but another long ball, Smitty. 7-1 Sooners.
TR Jennings, yeah, just doing it. The freshman getting this ball out of the park. 22nd home run of the year for TR Jennings.
A great conversation talking about umpires, what they've been up against this year, having to deal with the pandemic. You know, they had a lot of the older officials. Michelle decided to opt out for safety reasons for themselves and their families. So there have been some younger umpires thrown in the mix. And, like most of the players, they really didn't have a preseason or a non-conference to, get things going and build some chemistry with one another. All challenges they have faced.
Yeah, typically they would have called games all summer through the fall. Didn't have that opportunity, obviously. Pre-conference games, not a lot of them, with some of the tournaments canceled. And really, as you mentioned, quite a few of the umpires opting out. That means more of the experienced umpires not on the field this year.
And that'll drop in for a base hit in front of Mackenzie Donahue. So a base runner here in the bottom of the sixth for Baylor. But we also talked about the strike zone and tried to straighten some things out. And the true definition, Michelle.
Yeah, and so really what it is, it's the top of the ball at the top of the knee and the top of the ball below the sternum. So that's the true strike zone as it's written in the book. And that's what umpires are working on calling. A lot of times pitches above the belt, you see coaches or hitters thinking it's too high, but the true definition, and that last pitch that G. Juarez just threw, that McGlone swung through, technically in the book is a strike. At times it does look elevated, but it's not. Part of the emphasis this year was to work on the lower strike to try to help pitchers out a little bit.
Snap throw to first, back in time is hot.
But yeah, as you mentioned, Beth, it's difficult. We have a lot of young umpires, and calling the proper strike zone is important to our game.
Bubba Ewald, Brian Crochet, and Steve McCown are umpires today. At the bottom of the strike zone, that's what I think should be most interesting to fans, is you just need the top of the ball at the top of the knee. You just need, one little piece of it. Most of the ball can be down below the strike zone. You just have to nibble it.
Well, and part of it, too, this is a three-dimensional strike zone. So where it crosses the front of the plate is the strike zone. So when you see a catcher catching a ball down at the shin level, at the front of the plate, that probably went through that three-dimensional wall and is a strike. So the umpires are calling as it goes across the plate, not where the catcher is catching it.
McGlone down the line at right. It's caught by Mendez. One down. Well, the NFL Draft is only 2 days away. Our first round coverage begins Thursday night at 8 Eastern on ESPN, as well as the college perspective on our ABC coverage. Don't miss out. Find out where all these great quarterbacks are headed. Trevor Lawrence probably to Jacksonville, and then after that, who knows? Mac Jones, Zach Wilson, Justin Fields, Trey Lance. Looks like a terrific quarterback class. Justin's sister Jaden is a star for the Georgia softball team. Had the walk-off hit in their win a week ago against Oklahoma. Only loss the Sooners have suffered this year. Downs has it, 2 down. And hey, how about the TV magic of showing you Jaden Fields? Last Tuesday night at the Jack, the high hopper finds its way out to left field. Jackie Switzer comes in to score in extra innings. It's a walk-off. It's a walk-off. Jaden Fields. Justin is just Jaden's big brother this week. Well, until right. Thursday night, anyways. Leah Binford, fly out and a strikeout. And Emily Hott, who singled to lead off the inning, will now move into scoring position. It's game 1 of our doubleheader. Got both games for you here on the U. And will the Sooners keep throwing Juarez into the 7th? See if she can worked the complete game. They have not needed a lot of opportunities to throw a pitcher 7 innings. With how good their offense has been, wiping people out.
Yeah, she's started 17 games, 18 appearances, but complete games, Beth, coming into tonight, just 4. So this would just be her 5th complete game if she does go through the 7th. Which, if I'm Patty Gasso, I'm probably going to leave her in there.
Yeah.
Give her that opportunity.
Well, you talked about it earlier, right? Let's test them. Let's test their mettle.
Yep.
Let's see how they respond in what could be a potentially difficult situation. She really likes the way this group is coming together. She's told us this week the pitching staff is definitely trending upward. We also asked her about the argument this year, can you win it with just 1 ace? And she said, no, I really don't think you can win a national championship this year. One in the poll again this week, although UCLA did pick up a couple of first-place votes. And we've got a pitching change here for Baylor as they go to Aaliyah Binford.
Binford's going to be in the high 60s, so a little bit more velocity than Gia. She works a drop, curve, and a changeup. It's to make a lot of those pitches off speed. So she'll mix them up.
Here, Rodoni, 6 innings of work, 4 hits, but 7 runs scored on the 3 home run balls. As Aaliyah's dad looks on. They're going to test her defense, and she gets there to scoop it over to first. 1 down. We talked a little bit about it earlier. Officially adopted by her stepdad. That was actually earlier this afternoon. It finally became official. Greg and her mom, Betty. Great moment for their family. Hoping for a little different outcome in the opener. As it stands, 7-1 Sooners. Game 2 of the doubleheader still to come. For that 2013 national championship, do you remember it was right after the horrible tornado ripped through Moore, Oklahoma, a month before the World Series? I mean, they had the pitching staff, they had the power, they had the speed, they had it all.
Another one of those really complete teams that Patty Gasso puts together.
Beat Tennessee in the championship series. Lauren Chamberlain with that walk-off home run in the 12th inning at Game 1 of the Champ Series.
That was a battle.
Elani Ricketts won Game 1, and the gas can, Michelle Gascoigne, won Game 2. And a strikeout for Binford, 2 down. Let's see what Dad thought about this one.
How about Binford? Strikeout on the changeup.
Mom there to punch it out.
Yeah. All right. Coach Newman talked about Binford's ability to mix up speeds, off speeds, changeups. He'll take any pitch he throws and we'll work on throwing it off speed as well.
One to Jada Coleman. There's that off speed. Looped in a little high. Up the bump attempt foul. Right back to Benford, who snags it. 18th start for Juarez. She's looking for her 5th complete game. 6, 7, and 8 coming up.
Juarez is actually a really good pitch count coming here into the bottom of the 7th. 83, just the one free pass. Worked around 5 hits.
Alyssa Avalos is the pinch hitter here in the 7 spot. Well, it would be really big for Baylor if they can get Nikki Dawson back in the lineup soon. Our stud center fielder out with a hand injury right now. Rip foul.
Yeah, Dawson's great with the bat. Big leader defensively for Baylor. Saying she's, what, day by day, hoping to get her back for end of the Big 12 season, into the postseason.
Baylor has Kansas and Texas still on the slate as Juarez gets the strikeout, 1 down. Got some Sunday night baseball, of course, coming your way. We'll go NL East. Mets leading the Phillies right now in the standings. Sunday at 7 Eastern, your ball game on ESPN and your ESPN app. It starts an hour earlier with baseball tonight. Sunday night countdown. Jacob deGrom having a whale of a season in the circle for the Metropolitans. High throw. And did we just witness the first error in a month for the Sooners defense?
Oh, it's something you don't see very often. Grace Lyons, ball hit right at her, and she's just going to sling this one over. Doesn't get over the top and snap down, and throws that into the dugout. Gets to the ball very timely, but just launches that one. It's her 2nd error of the season.
And the first for the Sooners since March 26th, a month ago. 15 games error-free, and that comes to an end. Takes me back to the Texas series we did, Smitty, when we were interviewing Patty Gasso about her team that was number 2 in the country in fielding percentage, and she literally took us off the air questioning who was number 1. And upon further review, it was a team that had only played 2 games all year. So that error may stick with her for a bit. The fly out, 2 down.
Yeah, she was all over that.
Back to the base. Who's better than us? They are so locked in. Veterans passing along the knowledge to the youngsters. This freshman class has come in mature beyond their years.
Well, Beth, a lot of that has to do with their coaching during their travel ball seasons, the amount of games they play, the experience, spending time with junior national teams.
A lot different than the innocent young Michelle Smith when she arrived at Oklahoma State from the lush green farmlands of western New Jersey.
I had no idea.
In the mid-'80s.
No idea what I was doing. I don't look at
Like the days
years.
before. Travel ball is what it is today.
Yeah. Absolutely.
You didn't even talk to players on the other team, much less be friends with them through social media.
Yeah, there's no way.
Social media was an open window at your neighbor's house. Yelling back and forth.
Well, it's also interesting, too, that the number of these young athletes who come in and know each other from playing against each other. So, you know, freshmen at Oklahoma knowing the freshmen at Texas, and, you know, sometimes giving scouting reports to the rest of their team, knowing what pitchers are throwing.
Well, with the transfer portal, too.
Yes.
And G. Juarez ends it with the strikeout. Oklahoma, 38-1. Their 65th consecutive Big 12 win. And they take the opener of the doubleheader 7-1. Smitty, they rocked 3 home runs to do it.
Prototypical Oklahoma, really strong in the circle. They get the defense done when needed. And, of course, the big boppers sending it out of the yard.